10 o'clock Eastern time, and that means that Kaylor, who is feverishly trying to hydrate and make sure that everything is okie dokie and copacetic, Kaylor Hodges drops by, and it is now time for Kaylor to hang out with us for the first time here for the 2024 season. Good to see you, my friend.
I mean, technically twice if you consider the live show.
Well, true, yes, the live show. We're talking the morning show and the at USL Show normal slot. This is the first time as we lead into the 2024 season that you're here to talk about stuff. What's it been like in the off season at the USL Show and there in Birmingham, getting everything ready for the 24 season?
And as you know this, but for people who are not into the whole content creation thing for soccer, preseason is the worst because there's just so much to plan, and it all stipulates around this could happen. Maybe we'll find out. And I don't know. It's been a blast, though. We've had a lot of great stuff come out. We've released for the Glove of the Games a lot of kit season stuff, and we just have our USL Championship and League One previews come out last week and yesterday. So a lot of good stuff. Just excited for projections to become reality and for us to all be wrong.
Yes. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy if you're talking about stuff that's wrong, especially with me. When it comes to the biggest storylines in USL Championship from the off season, as we get ready for kickoff of the 24 season, what are some of the bigger storylines that stuck with you and the guys there at the USL Show?
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, Las Vegas has actual investment, and they're putting together an actual roster. Like, it seems like something so simple that should have been done a long time ago, but they didn't. That's the one thing that we're excited about. I think one other thing that we're kind of ready to see is just the East is a slog.
Mm-hmm.
I think other than one team, the Miami FC, there's 11 teams you can talk yourself into making the playoffs, and there's about 8 teams you can talk yourself into home playoffs. It's ridiculous. The West is just as strong. You look at your Sacramentos, you look at your San Antonios, even your Phoenixes to an extent, El Pasos. It's just as strong on the West, but the East from top to bottom just looks like it's going to be a bloodbath.
And you end up with something. I mean, I thought you were going to talk about Hartford as one of the teams that was not going to be a part of the playoff discussion, considering their history. But they've got Nick Sakevich now in the front office, and they seem to be at least making the right strides heading into the season. Obviously, since they haven't played a game, we can't sit there and talk about that. But Hartford Athletic, I mean, they're a team that's going to sit there and go, okay, we're changing things around. We know what happened last year. Got some front office folks in, and now we're making some other changes. I thought you were going to mention Hartford and not the Miami FC.
No, because this is the first year I think I've ever believed in the Hartford project.
Really? Okay.
Because last year they said, well, in 2021 or 2022, they said we have a really, really good attack and a really bad defense. And going in 2023, they said, what if we bought more attackers and didn't get any good defenders? That was just kind of their idea. And if you have watched Hartford matches, they were all like 5-5. They were fun unless you're a Hartford fan. And they all kind of fell apart. This year, they have a really good defense. They have good attackers. They have good midfielders. There's a lot of things to believe in. I think your question is, does the Hartford stink leave them?
Does the Hartford stink leave? That's one of the big things. Maddie Cruz and the ones and twos. Question for Kaylor Hodges.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to kind of get into it. I'm excited to watch this season as well, because this is like really the first time that I'm actually going to be like really sitting down to like watch these matches. I've seen like a couple of them like in passing, but I'm really excited to really sit down and watch them. What are some teams that you're really looking forward to seeing them break out in this season? Is there anyone you have your mind on? Anyone that you think is really going to break out?
I mean, we kind of mentioned the Las Vegas. I mean, I think they're kind of everybody's sexy pick.
So then who would not be a sexy pick that you would still have a part of that discussion?
I think people are going to be shocked at how good North Carolina is. People are underrating the League One talent, but when you have someone who scored, I believe, 17 goals last year with Alexander,
Yeah.
and then you're adding, bona fide goal scorers on top of that, adding in just real deal talent, people are going to underrate North Carolina because they don't think that League One is as good as it is. Guess what, people? The gap between League One and Championship is almost non-existent. Get over yourself. They are going to be a real deal talent. I have them as the third best team in the East.
And what they have done is, and they have done it from both directions. They've wanted to build from their academy and bring in the younger players and keep the younger players and make sure that, they're going to hang around for a while, but they're building from within at the same time, making those key pickups and trying to figure out, okay, who can fit and be a good mentor for our younger talent. And so you're seeing a team that basically won a championship, got promoted technically, and now they're in USL Championship, but they're one of those clubs that has that academy base that's helping them out with their talent pool.
Yeah, and some we talked about when we talked to Jake McGuire, who is the GK1 out in North Carolina. When we talked with him on the Glove of the Game, we talked about his time there at League One, North Carolina, and we talked about how do you coach younger players because they had academy guys. Nick Holiday, ever heard of him? Like, he came through and he was an academy guy. How does he help him? Because in the end, they're academy players, but they're also there to try to take your job, right? And so how do you balance having an academy guy in your backroom staff who wants to take your job as a 16-year-old, but you also are in charge of making sure that he grows as a player? And so you have a really fun dynamic at North Carolina where a lot of the players are also coaches for the academy. The academy players are getting time to play with the first team and get actual first team training minutes. And it just becomes not only a learning environment, but a competitive environment where they get to compete against grown men. It's really cool.
And in the Twitch pitch, we actually have folks who are firing back and forth amongst each other. We got North Carolina FC fans and Charleston Battery fans going at each other in the Twitch pitch. And so it's fun to hear you talk about those two franchises while those two fan bases are going at each other in the Twitch pitch this morning. See what we have started. It's amazing what happens when you have cannons involved with goal scoring.
It's amazing what happens when you have Del Schaefer involved because there's always cannons there.
Chaos.
Absolutely. Maddie, go for it.
Well, I have two questions for you as well. I'm getting the opportunity to catch up a little bit with Knoxville's head coach, Mark McKeever, later today. What is something that you would want to know about that squad going into this new season, especially for League One?
We did our USL League One preview last night. I want to be, what was the plan? I kind of hate to say it, but they might have had the worst offseason for League One teams. Oh. And there's a part of you that wonders, hey, the players that are coming back, do you expect them to be used to the league? Because they brought a lot of players who were championship players, and maybe they underrated the league a little bit and they got punched in the mouth a little bit. Maybe they're banking on some step ups, but I don't see any improvements for this One Knox team. And this is a One Knox team that didn't make the playoffs last year. I want to know what the plan was. If it was, we expect guys to take some steps forward, or maybe I'm just underrating the players they brought in.
Absolutely.
Second question, Maddie, go for it.
Second question. Listen, you're in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to tell Jay.
Here we go.
I just promised this jersey. Mm-hmm. I've still heard nothing about it. All I want is the jersey. Jay Heaps, if you're listening, love you. You're great. You're phenomenal. You're a great person. Yeah. Love you so much. I'll send you my address.
Oh, boy. For the record, I have talked to Jay, and Jay is working on it. And so now both Kaylor and Maddie are looking for the Lady Electras. And by the way, I give Birmingham full credit. That is a hell of a jersey. You did some fantastic work with that. And I also, since Maddie mentioned One Knox, I'll give one Knox a boatload of credit for the Sunsphere jersey. I like that.
It's so good.
I like that Sunsphere jersey. I really do. And that nod to the World Cup, the World's Fair of years past, where you go up the Sunsphere and you have like overpriced skinny portions during the World's Fair. I was there. I have the Ringer T-shirt buried someplace. I know it exists. Kefty says that Birmingham is in trouble. I don't know if that is meant because of the desires for the Lady Electra jersey by the folks here on the show, or in general with what the Legion may or may not be up to. What's your thoughts about your hometown club this year?
They've changed their tactical approach a little bit since you saw them, or maybe it was just because of the team that they were going against. But their latest friendly against Chattanooga FC, I walked away saying this team is weird in the best way possible.
Okay.
They have a front, they have a back three and a front four attack. So it's like a 3-3-4.
Okay.
And you have one holding mid and then two guys that are pressing forward. So you essentially have a 3-1-6 whenever you're in possession.
Okay.
And it looks bizarre. And it is a bizarre thing to watch. And do I think that they have the talent to compete at the top? If you look at names on paper, sure. Mm-hmm. Do I think they've made enough changes to really push to be a top 4 team? I don't know. But I also think they're going to win a lot of matches based on being weird. Because like I watched them and I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I think a lot of teams in the USL are going to be experiencing the same thing because it's 4 fast technical players up top where the whole goal is screw it, they're down there somewhere. And when you have 4 of those people, that's hard to keep up with, especially when they're super technical players. They're going to win games off being weird and having good talent. Are they going to be top 4? I don't know. I want to believe, but they're going to be interesting and fun to watch.
Dell wants to know if you're broadcasting live from jail, considering your backdrop. And Harry says that you're always creative. You always have creative backdrops from the old school hotel background to a brick wall. And then Harry does qualify by saying you are, in fact, the best. But are you broadcasting live from jail this morning?
My contractual obligations at the school I work at makes me say no. I haven't had time to decorate behind me.
See that we got to work on that. What do you think? You got a new club in the Eastern Conference this year. New club, period. I mean, we can differentiate from new club in the Western Conference because Memphis 901 is going from east to west. We had Stephen Glass on the show about a week ago. And you've got Rhode Island FC with our buddy Michael Parkhurst and Kano Smith, the head coach. They're building the facility. They're building the stadium, and it should be ready for next season. They're playing at Bryant this year. What are you anticipating from RIFC in year 1 of their existence in the Northeast?
Rhode Island FC is a bizarre thought experiment.
How bizarre a thought experiment is it?
Their starting 11 is great, but I believe in their depth 0.
Okay.
So if you bank on their starting 11 being healthy all year long, maybe I think they could be a top 2 team in the East. If an injury happens at a key position, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that they would see. I need to see how they last for 34. Because if the season was 10 matches long, you might be able to pencil them into being the top team in the East. But it's 34. And I need to know how the depth can last because the drop-off from 11 to 12, I think, is pretty massive.
Okay. So, Maddie, what else is on your mind when it comes to USL Championship and League One for @Kaylor Hodges on the Twitters?
Ooh. I mean, I'm excited for the season to start. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, what are your thoughts on the new deal, especially with the new TV broadcasting, it being broadcasted in more places now? I mean, it's great for the league on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. I think the thing that scares fans a little bit is having to have multiple subscription services, but also a lot of the stuff on CBS is going to be free. So there's that. You get your national broadcast. It's going to be on CBS. It's going to be the final, the both finals for League One and the championship. And I think someone did some looking into it. I think that week is either rivalry week or championship week.
Ooh.
So there is a world where you have like Ohio State, Michigan going straight into the USL Championship finals.
Wow. Okay.
That's crazy.
That's an interesting programming grid.
Yes.
Dell, with a question for you. Do you think that the battery can be as good with the loss of Muse, Fidel Barajas, and Derek Dodson with the additions of Graham Smith, Aaron Malloy, Jackson Conway, Jake LaCava, etc.? No top striker or a big-name keeper, but a solid midfield.
Losing Fidel Barajas is massive, obviously. Losing Augie Williams is massive, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and apologize to Trey and his father, but he was just okay last year.
Okay.
He was just okay. And I think if you get average goalkeeping output out of what you have there, you just made a lateral move. Like, I wasn't impressed by Trey Muse. That said, Aaron Malloy is ridiculous. If you haven't watched Aaron Malloy, he might be the best midfielder in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big Conway fan. LaCava, the Jake LaCava fan club starts with me. I love that guy. I think that he is a real deal talent. I think that he's super impressive. I think that Charleston with Ben Pierman and the continuity that they have, I think a big part of people are missing out is Mark Segbers gets a full year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he came over from Miami, was just okay.
Came over from the Miami.
The Miami. I'm always the one that keeps people in line with it too. How dare I?
Gotcha.
But I think that you're going to see Charleston, I think, take a step forward. Losing Fidel Barajas is a lot, but also last year during the playoffs and other times, we didn't see Barajas that much anyway, and they were fine.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be okay.
Some of the younger talent that's going to be out there this year, and this is for those that might play USL Championship fantasy, for those that do. I mean, there are some really talented young players that are going to be out there. For Vegas, you mentioned Vegas, and they're getting Edison Ascona on loan from Messi and Friends. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have Ascona out there. I'm wondering, frankly, if the folks at Vegas Lights have learned how to do a bat flip from Joey Bats myself, and I'm looking forward to that with their new owner out there at Cashman. Someone that you know from your coverage there in Birmingham with Matty Corcoran. You've got Brendan Craig in El Paso. You've got Bryce Jameson at OCSC. Damian Loss, who was a top keeper in MLS Next Pro last season for Los Verdos. Austin FC 2. He's going to be at Lou City for Danny Cruz. Christian Nava, New Mexico United. Naita Pickering, who we've been very high on for a long time, and his growth at Memphis 901. Marcos Rios at Colorado Springs. There's a lot of young talent that's going to be out there on display. Who else in your spot, Shadow, or some of the either the new faces to USL Championship and or League One, or the young faces in either of those leagues that we need to keep an eye on and sit there and go, oh, this is appointment television?
Okay, there's a couple of places I want to go with this. First off, with Knight, I've been told that he only wants to go by Knight.
Okay.
No Pickering.
Wow. Okay, so he's going the full Madonna, Tiger, Jack deal. Okay, got it.
But when you have a name like Knight, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I absolutely.
If you haven't had a chance to watch him, he is incredible. Mm-hmm. I think he's one you have to watch. Bryce Jameson might be one of the most interesting ones that you're going to see. You're losing Milan Olowski, who was their attack. I mean, I kind of joke about Legion being 4 guys of screw it, they're down there somewhere. Orange County was Milan down there somewhere.
There you go.
And guess what? He did it. Bryce Jameson's a guy who when he played in the U17 World Cup, he did well. When he played in the USL Academy tournament, the finals tournament, he scored I think it was a 20-minute hat trick at 17 years old. It was gross. And I think he's a guy that can make a step forward. There are two guys I think in League One that you have to circle. And if you're a Georgia person, I think you already kind of know where I'm going. Jackson Corey is incredible. If Tormenta goes, he goes.
Yep.
It's one of those things that if South Georgia Tormenta are going to be competitive this year, it's going to be on the back of Jackson Corey. And the other one is in Charlotte. And I think you're looking at Omar Sis, who got 35 games last year as a 21-year-old. And he is your true box-to-box midfielder. He can do anything you want. Those are the guys that I would circle personally.
Yeah, we caught up with Mike Jeffries earlier this week to get the Charlotte Independence lay of the land. Michael Valverde is looking for a little more in-depth discussion on North Carolina FC. Just talk about their new additions. Was at the final last year. They are stout. What do you think about NCFC in addition to the ways that they're building and bringing in folks? What do you think about North Carolina FC?
I love North Carolina FC. I do. The big ones that we're looking at, you're looking at Paco Craig, who has the conversation of being the best center back in the league.
Yep.
You're looking at Lamar Batista, who came out strong last year, looks great. Another guy that was just underrated. You're looking at a Rodrigo da Costa, who is being added on top of Rafael Menzigan. You're looking at Colin Martin, who is your midfielder's favorite midfielder. You get Garrett McLaughlin, who is ridiculously good. Oh my gosh. Alex Anderson.
Alex Anderson.
Yeah, just incredible. Evan Conway over there. You can put together a starting 11 and a bench that competes with anybody. And that's the difference to me between Rhode Island and North Carolina, which you can say they are the two new teams. North Carolina, not that new. Yeah. But when you look at the bench that North Carolina has, if someone's hurt and you have to pluck someone from the bench, they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. I am really excited about what they have. I think bringing back Jake McGuire is going to be huge. Bringing back a Railhawks legend and Akira Fitzgerald is pretty big if you are looking for someone to mentor the young guys.
Yep.
I love what North Carolina did. I think Colin Martin's going to be a big deal. Rodrigo da Costa adding on top of Anderson and Menzigan is going to be just ridiculously good. And I think people are going to be very shocked when they experience it for the first time.
Wrapping up our time with Kaylor Hodges and at Kaylor Hodges on the 280 character app and at the USL Show with him and the band of renowned. One last question about USL League One. I have always posited in all of my interviews that USL League One is one of the toughest, if not the toughest league in this hemisphere to navigate on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's a rock fight. It's a rock fight in a phone booth. And to try and get into the top six, to get into the postseason, you literally can go to the last week of the year and you could still have 9 or 10 teams chasing after all 6 spots. You've got a new team in Spokane, and now that gives you an even 12, 6, and I know they're trying to build the Western footprint, but are you anticipating the same kind of, oh my God, craziness in USL League One that we have seen ever since the league came online?
Yes. Yeah. Spokane's an interesting one to me because they've added a lot of players that never really got a chance in the championship. And then they bring over players in League One who are great. I mean, if you're looking at Luis Hill, probably the best central attacking midfielder in the league last year. And it was chock full of great central attacking midfielders last year. I think that Spokane's a boom or bust. When you look at the championship players they brought in that didn't really get their opportunity, they could be great. They could be getting their time to shine. It's not like they brought in kind of like what Knox did last year of all stars from yesteryear. They brought in the unproven talents from last year. And I think that could go well, but also I think Spokane might find out why they were unused. So that's always a scary situation to be in, especially since the gap between the championship and League One is not that big. I think you're also going to see a team like Lexington, who a lot of people have as their top team.
They blew the salary cap, man. They're just like, back up the truck and we'll pay Cameron Lancaster whatever he wants.
I mean, John and I talked about it last night. John Morrissey at USL Tactics.
There you go.
We don't think they're the top. We think they're like top 3.
Okay.
But we're both in unanimous agreement that Ford Madison's the best team in League One.
Really?
Their defense is ridiculous. The players they brought back in are great. Cheney is going to get more double-digit goals. They're great from top to bottom. And then you have your Union Omahas. You have guys like that. You have Northern Colorado, who has retooled after losing Armand and Rogers, 2 of the best teams or players in the league last year. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be ridiculous. To kind of speak to how crazy it was, if you weren't following 2 years ago when South Georgia Tormenta won it, on the final day of the season, they could have either finished second or missed the playoffs altogether.
Correct.
That was a possibility. They could have missed the playoffs or finished second, and that was on the last day of the season. I think it's going to be exactly the same.
And we're looking forward to it. So this officially kicks off all of your visits for you and the friends at the USL Show. So if I'm looking at my calendar, that means the last Thursday of the month is in 3 weeks. So on the 28th, sir, you and your merry band are invited back, and we'll take a look at the first couple of weeks of the season. Go ahead and hit all the plugs and what folks need to listen to and watch.
At the USL Show on Twitter or Bird X, whatever it is. You can get on there on YouTube and also all your podcasting streaming services. We have a kit season show, which is all about rating the kits and stuff. We've done interviews with all sorts of manufacturers, the Yaza, Hummel, Capelli's coming on soon. We're getting all the manufacturers to talk about kit design, how that works. That one's fun. For the glove of the game, this is the one that is the one that's close to my heart. It takes a professional goalkeeper, and we walk them through one of their best matches and have them break down every single touch they had on the game. So we talked to Jake McGuire, and we walked him through his match against Birmingham Legion last year, where he had, I think it was 9 saves, including a penalty save. I mean, and we talked, and he talked through every little detail of why did he play this pass? Why did he boot it out as opposed to playing it short? How did he see a certain ball? We did the same thing with Amal Knight from Lexington. And now with the season starting, we're going to be taking some of the best performers from the week and going forward. And then just the standard show, the USL Show, the flagship. It's good stuff. John Morrissey, Alan Underwood, Ryan Allen, Phil Bakke. I think did I say John Morrissey? Maybe I did.
Yeah, you did.
Those guys, they make me look smart, or they make me look dumb. One of the ways. I don't know which one that goes, but I mean, it's some of the best crew around to talk about the USL. And if you want to follow more about it, specifically follow those guys, but follow the USL Show as well.
What he said. Kaylor, please continue to hydrate. Dell is asking that you get a haircut.
No, because last time I did, he bullied me. No.
Okay.
Not happening.
So there will not be a haircut by the time that Kaylor comes back in 3 weeks. Kaylor, my friend, thanks for taking the time and stepping into a room in your rounds of education and taking time to hang out with us. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks, my friend, and we'll go through everything in the championship in League One.
See ya.